Okay, small little steps. I got you. Let's get you on the table. First your front wheel, then your back wheel. What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are working on the Fox again and we are going to have a look at the whole CVT stuff and whatever. We're gonna take the back wheel off, look at the gearing, put fresh new transmission oil in it so it is nice and ready to start going fast. We got the gaskets for in between, but we got no other parts, no O-rings, no bearings, nothing of that. So hopefully everything looks fine in there, but we're gonna check it out, see what we can find. If we need to replace something, we're gonna do that. If something is still good, we're gonna keep it because we can always upgrade or work on it later. But for now, we're gonna service it. So we're gonna take off everything from the kickstart, the cover, back wheel, and then the whole housing with the gearing system in there. Hopefully nothing is really majorly wrong in there, but we will see. But let's just crack on with it, start taking stuff apart, see what we're working with and cleaning stuff out. So everything is disassembled, I cleaned everything out and checked every single part, bearing, gearing system, whatever, and see if it's still good. Now I have good news and also a little bit of bad news. The gearing system, no extensive wear or tear or some malfunction that is happening, none of that. This bearing right here is very smooth, but this bearing where this small little shaft is a little bit stiff. Is it stiff enough that I feel that it needs to be replaced? Not really. It is stiffer than a new bearing, but it's not that stiff. Of course, there's no oil. I completely degreased it. So maybe with transmission oil, it will smooth out a little bit better. Also, these gears, no problem at all. There is a small little line right here, but that is normal when there is a seal right there, but no wear and tear on the teeth. Even this one looks pretty fine. No wear and tear. There's a little bit of discoloration where the gearing meets each other, but not at that extent that we need to replace it. It still looks fine and it will perform good. The housing inside was a little bit tough to clean with this seal right here and the bearing. The outside bearing moves smoothly and the inside bearing moves smoothly as well. It will do the job fine once there's new oil in it. I also got the new gasket right here that's gonna go on there, but to make it seal more, I'm gonna use liquid gasket as well, like I did with the crankcase. Put a little bit on there, not too much, to get a perfect seal, because this has to be completely sealed off so we don't have a leaking backside and you can see all dirt build up. We don't want that. We want it completely sealed. The way that I clean this, you've seen it in a lot more videos. I use water and soap. Yes, I use water and soap on this, but at the end I hit it with the heat gun so every single water drop is evaporated, so I don't have any water. So that is how I clean my parts, the inside parts, bearings or whatever. Some people will use gasoline, but I prefer that because it's cheaper than gasoline and it still works fine. The important step is just to hit it with the heat gun so every single water drop is gone. So now we're gonna put it back together and have a nice clean working transmission. So the transmission is all back together, it rotates smoothly. I put some transmission fluid in it. When I look at the case, there is 0.12 liters. So I put the exact amount in there, so it will rotate smoothly and it got enough oil. Now the bearing that I talked about is running smoothly now. It's probably not 100% good. I mean, it's 90% good, and with the oil it runs smoothly. Also, I cleaned up the brake so I don't have to be in there and I don't have to do it and if I assemble it. And I put some grease on the pivoting points. Also, I put some copper grease on the bolts for here so they don't seize up because it is metal and aluminum. So we don't have any stuck bolts when we need to open this up again, like when we need to change the fluid. There is no draining plug on here. It's a little bit of a shame because I would replace the transmission fluid more often, but on this bike it is not the case. Maybe at some point we will make our own drainage plug. We're gonna have to look into that if we have to do it a lot more. We're gonna replace the fluid like before the race that this bike is gonna be made for, but that is a long way. We still have some testing and some normal riding, so a drain plug would be nice, but on this bike unfortunately there isn't. So the whole back section is now serviced. We checked everything, the seals, the bearings. We know the condition of this whole back section. Now next week I'm gonna continue with this whole stuff right here, and we're gonna get onto this. This is the clutch mechanism with the housing and whatever. I'm gonna have to take this apart, but I don't have a wrench that big, so I'm gonna have to find one so I can open this up. Let me just quickly check the size. And it is 38.7, so I think a 39 or whatever, if you can find that. But we're gonna have to take this apart because there is a lot of moving mechanics and I want to clean those out, degrease them and put new grease in there. Check if everything is working correctly. Of course, clean it. This part right here, the housing, there are some rust spots, so I'm gonna have to sand them and maybe clear coat it. This is a part that comes really hot when the bike engages. So I'm gonna have to use a heat resistant clear coat, but I'm gonna have to buy that. Also behind the scenes, I'm working on the electrical system, trying to figure that out, what we need, what we don't need, because this was a electric start bike. It had a battery, a starter, all that good stuff, even indicators. We don't want that. The main components that we want is we want a light for the speedometer, we want brake lights, headlights, tail lights, and that is pretty much gonna be it, and not much more is gonna go on the bike. So I'm trying to figure that whole stuff out. There's not a lot of stuff I can find online about the electrical system, so I'm gonna have to work that out myself. I'm not really clever on electrical systems, so that's a little bit of trouble. So I'm getting ahead of time, so when the time comes that we need to put the electrical stuff on there, we got it all figured out and we know what works and doesn't work and how we can make it work later on. When we got everything to work, if we have spark and lights and whatever, we can work out how we're gonna route the wires. We want a clean look, not a messy look. We don't want wires and stuff going everywhere, so we're gonna have to figure that out. Maybe when we have a seat we can build it all in there, what needs to be in there, so you don't see it. It's just one wire going to the engine and that's it. So that is gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, and if you're not already subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.